Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. No, there are times, and then there are times, and this is one of those times that we get to talk to somebody who is just. It's going to take me a while to go through her bio, but she is a 12-time international best-selling author. She's a coach. She's a teacher. She's a confidence coach. She knows NLP, which I want to talk about a little bit about how that is incorporated into her work. And she's a confidence coach, which is so danged important in the world. If you don't have confidence to do what you were set out to do and why you're really here, it makes it very difficult for you to get out of your head and into your heart and figure out how you're really going to make a difference for yourself, your family, and the people around you, and ultimately the world. Her name, she's actually become world famous, and she's endorsed by Tony Robbins, Jim Britt, Kevin Harrington from the Shark Tank, all kinds of interesting people. And her name is Nathalie. And Nathalie, just so that we get it right, at least the first time, can you give us your last name, please?
It's not that complicated. Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas.
See, it rolls off of your tongue. And
I've said it more than once, actually. I've said it a few times. That's really why I've got practice.
I imagine you have, and you've been doing sales work and management work and personal transformation work and helping people be in fitness and doing all of these things. You must have started when you were 5, because you tell in your bio, it says that you've been doing this for 20, 30 years. I highly doubt that, because you're so pretty and you've got such spirit and such energy about you. It is so cool that I get to talk to you again. We've talked before, but this is a different setting and a much bigger deal, I think.
Thank you so much. And Kevin, guess what? I turned 50 this year.
No, friggin' way. Yep. You did. No,
I did. I'm part of the, It now, feels so weird to be as the same age as old people.
I know. Well, the interesting thing is you're from Canada and and so is it kind of like we use Fahrenheit, you use Celsius? Is it kind of like that? Because do your years work differently than our years?
Yes, that's right. That means in US currency, I'm only 30.
That's right. And so you get to relive those 20 years because you are so amazing at what you do. You're a speaker. Show that plaque that you just got.
Oh yes, this was this summer. So I just got the CSP medal as a certified speaking professional. So it's a thing. You can be certified as a professional speaker. There's only 400 in the world that are certified professional speakers. There's only 62 in Canada and only 7 speak French like I do. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's the highest credential that you can get as a professional speaker. So you need to do like a full list of so many things in order to receive the medal. And I was just crowned this summer in Denver in Colorado.
That is rarefied air right there, because there are people. Do you ever go online where you get these ads that say, hey, do you want to be a speaker? I can teach you in a weekend how to be a great speaker, and you make tons of money. You pay them tons of money to teach you, but then sadly, it doesn't quite work out that way.
Exactly. Yeah. Would you go to a doctor that says, yeah, I'm a doctor. I'll just take this scalpel here and open your brain. I'll do your brain surgery for you. Well, no, you want to make sure they're certified, right? Yeah.
You want everything on
Absolutely.
their wall to be real and honest, and it can't be from like the University of Timbuktu that they became a doctor at. You want somebody from Harvard or somebody who's really good at what they do.
Exactly. And what do? I talk about the brain. We're talking about the mindset. We're talking about that. You mentioned the negative self-talk. I can't wait to get into the topic. I love it, love it, love it.
It is a phenomenal topic because you know what we all do, not all of us, many of us do, is we think to ourselves, I want to be this. I've got these gifts and I can do this and I've done this in the past. And then we get this other part of our brain that says, oh no, now come on, Natalie, you can't do that. What are you doing? You've got a decent job and you're making decent money and so just settle for who you are now, not who you want to be. And personally, I think that's a waste of life.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that we don't talk to people like that. Like you don't tell your friends, "Oh, you look terrible in these jeans." "Oh, what? You're starting your own business? It's never going to work. You're not good enough." Like we don't talk to people like that, but that's the way we talk to ourselves. Like me first, when I started speaking, yeah, I'm French and I uh wanted to become a speaker, and I was hearing this voice telling me, "What? Ha, you want to be a professional speaker like in English? You don't even speak English. You want to write books in English? Are you kidding me? This is never going to work. You're not good enough." So I really had to figure out how to change my mindset. I had just moved to Toronto. So from small town girl from outside of Quebec City, and then moved to Toronto, big city. I started to work in a gym. And I don't know if you've been in a situation where you are new, where you don't know anybody and you're just trying to get your footing. And so how do you go from begging your boss, from pulling your classes from the schedule, because there was only 2 people coming to my classes, to becoming fitness instructor of the year for Canada less than a year later? So I'll tell you what happened, Kevin. The gym was introducing a new dance program, and I put my hand up to be part of the demo team. So picture yourself, you're in front of 150 other instructors to demonstrate this new program. And you're super intimidated because they're all so much better than you are, but you're giving it. And then you do your best, and you got it because you can tell. You can see all the faces looking at you with a shocked look on their face. So you're like, oh, I so got this. I don't know what impact it would have for you, but for me, it completely changed my life. I started strutting around in the gym as if I owned the place. My classes became packed because I was showing so much confidence. And then a few months later, somebody corners me in the change room and says, "Natalie, I have to tell you, we really started respecting you. After what happened to you on that day, you acted as if it did not bother you at all." And I'm like, what is she talking about? What happened to me? Well, Kevin, it turns out that I had a wardrobe malfunction on that day. Boom! My boob was sticking out during the performance. So that's why everybody was looking at me with a shocked look on their face. But of course, I wanted to disappear when she said that, but only for a few moments because it was already too late. I was already the queen of the gym because I was responding to a different story in my head. I was making up a different story. So one of the most embarrassing moments of my life could have ruined me, but instead it propelled me because of the mindset that I had. So it doesn't really matter what is happening to our life and what events are showing up for us. What matters is how we respond to them. And that's when I decided to start to really study the brain, study the 6 layers of the brain that we need to address in order to make a change, to figure out how do we reprogram our mindset so that we can respond in a way that will serve us. And then the rest is history. I've created a system to reprogram our brain. That's the system that I share in my 12 No.1 bestselling books. And this system I share with one-on-one with my coaching clients and on stages around the world.
A lot of people will say, well, you can't change the brain. Your brain is your brain. But that's not true. You've proven that. You can change it any way you choose to, using the right tools along with it. And those are some of the tools that you give people.
Absolutely. It's neuroplasticity. The mindset will adapt depending on the events and the experiences that we go through. We we have in our brain the most powerful and complex structure of the universe. We are invincible. Whatever happens, it's like you have a drawer that you open up, and when something happens, you go into that drawer and you get an answer. And we have the best answers for everything. We can be at our very best and be absolutely phenomenal. The problem is, as we go through life, we accumulate a whole bunch of stuff in that drawer over top, and everything, like a whole bunch of crap, is accumulated over top of our good answers. So when something happens, you're in the kitchen and then you're thinking about the bills you have to pay and so at work, and then your boss and so many different things. And your daughter comes in the kitchen and says, "Hey, mommy." And you turn around and you go, "What?" And you're like, "Oh, what did I just do?" You know, in your drawer, you had the perfect answer. "Yes, sweetie, what can I do for you?" You know, that's what you wanted to do. That's what you wanted to say. But there was so much stuff that was accumulated on top that you responded with whatever was on top. So we need to empty the drawer, get rid of all the luggage, the baggage, the stuff that's holding us back, that is not serving us anymore. That's what I do. I help people clean up the drawer. So then when you finish an event, you don't say, "Ah, I should have said this instead. I should have done that. Oh, I wish I was like this." Well, you can. You can have access to your very best self. And it's just a matter of figuring out how to use the brain and the best parts of the brain as well. Because the brain has so many parts, right? So we need to know how to work with the best part of our brain. Like, really, what I do is I teach people how people use their brain wrong and what to do to make it work for you.
And you know what's interesting about that too is that that child that walked into that room and mom is stressed, and so she cuts her head off with it, verbally, says, "What do you need? What? I'm busy." And fast forward years later, that child, they're sitting at Thanksgiving dinner, and that child says, "Mom, do you remember the time I came to you with an important question for me, and you bit my head off, and you don't even remember it?" Those are some
Yeah.
of the things that we do that we tend to forget, but it
Yeah.
can, in somebody else's brain, in somebody else's story, it
Yeah.
becomes a paramount issue. And so that's one of the reasons why the work that you do is so important.
Because it's somebody's baggage now becomes somebody else's baggage later. We
Yes.
all carry the same stuff, and very often it's not our own. I've helped clients that are in their 50s, and they got rid of something that they've been carrying from their mother. That's not even theirs. It's not even, it's something that happened to their mom when her mom was a child, and she kind of carried that through in the way that she raised her daughter, and now the daughter was still carrying that stuff that's, it's not even hers to start with. It's because it's something that happened to her mom. Like, it's very interesting how we get stuck for so many different reasons. And the problem is, we don't have time to process and to receive the package. What I mean is that every event is like a delivery truck, right? So when something happens to you, especially the powerful emotion, anger, fear, hurt, sadness, guilt, or when there is a limiting belief or a trauma, it it is a big truck in your driveway that's bringing you a package. But we don't have time to open the door for the delivery person. What we do is we ignore it and we smile and we say, "Oh, yeah, everything is fine." Now you're in front of your boss, you smile, everything is good. And you come home and your daughter asks, "Are you okay, mommy?" "Oh, yeah, mommy's fine. Everything is good." And we just pretend because we don't take the time to open the package. The problem is, the truck will stay there until you open the door, and another truck will come in, and another truck would come in, and another truck. And eventually, there's a whole bunch of trucks in your driveway. And that's when you go into stress leave and burnout. And that's when you can't, you go into full depression. because there's too much accumulation, because we don't take the time to receive the package. All you have to do, if there's something that you keep ruminating, overthinking in your head, just immediately ask yourself, how do I exit that emotional loop? Because in emotional loop, you're in prefrontal cortex overload. Your prefrontal cortex is panicking with all this information. So your unconscious mind needs to come to the rescue and take that event from your prefrontal cortex and put it into the limbic brain. But what happens is we stay stuck in the loop, and we keep overthinking and ruminating. Sometimes after 2 weeks later, we keep thinking about, oh, I should have done this, I should have said that. Or I've spoken to some people who haven't talked to their siblings for 20 years. They're still mad at something that happened 20 years ago. They're still stuck in that emotional loop, in anger and frustration. So how do we exit the loop? You have to receive the package. You have to open the door for the delivery truck and say, what did I learn? So if there was a positive learning, what did I learn from this? So when you start your emotional loop, which should last 30 to 90 seconds. So an emotional loop, a prefrontal cortex overload, should last 30 to 90 seconds. We see that in kids all the time. They're super happy and then temper tantrum, and then they're happy again. 90 seconds out of the loop, easy.
Yep.
But we stay stuck in the loop. And what happens is we need to take a pause when something happens and understand that there's something going on. And you need to say, oh, okay, I'm feeling this way. I hate this. I don't like it. I'm not feeling good at all. I'm upset, or I'm sad, or I'm afraid, or whatever is the emotion. Remember to exit the loop. So you say, okay, how do I exit the loop? The brain does not know the difference between anxiety or excitement. Okay. If you decide that it's anxiety, it will shoot 1,400 chemicals through your bloodstream to slow you down. And we're not very resourceful when we're full of cortisol and we're not at our best. We're stuck. If you choose that it's excitement, your brain will shoot feel-good chemicals through your bloodstream to make you feel better. So there's lots of different feel-good chemicals. There's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. So each of them are different and will be released in different times. So I could come back to your show and talk just about that, on the different ways to create feel-good chemicals. But the main thing is it will make you feel good so that you will be resourceful. Okay. So if something happens and you're like, okay, I'm not feeling this, you're allowed 90 seconds to feel it. And then you say, okay, I'm feeling this. Ooh, oh, wait, that means there's a truck in my driveway. Ooh, I'm receiving a package. What's my gift? Ooh, what am I receiving? What am I learning? Guess what? I'm going to grow from this. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to step up in my life's journey. And when you're enthusiast, or potentially just curious, at least when you go into curiosity and you say, I wonder what I'm going to learn. I wonder what I'm learning from this. Then you can exit the loop, because you send some feel-good chemicals. Your enthusiasm will make you feel good. And then you'll be able to say, okay, bring it on. Because I don't have a magic wand. I can't keep people from facing change and stress. What I can do, though, is give them access to their best self, so they can say, okay, there's something going on. Bring it on. I got this. I've seen more in my life in the past. And if I've never seen anything like this, then I'll learn how to deal with that. This is great. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to move up onto my life journey. What am I learning? And as soon as you caught up the learning and you say, oh, I know it's because I should have done this instead. Well, next time I'll do it that way. I've just learned it. Check. Exit the loop. Yeah.
And the important part is to exit the loop and not go around and around and around and around again. And that is one of the things that I call them stories. The stories that we tell ourselves, that of things that have happened to us in the past. And then we build on those stories and we make them more than they really were at the time. And it's impossible for us to get out of that loop. We are talking with Nathalie Plamondon. Thank you, and Thomas, and Go to her website, by the way, thinkyourself.com. And you can find out all about her team. She has an extensive team of people that she works with, and they're all designed to do one thing, and that's to help you. And you can learn from her. And she's just a dynamic individual, a great smile, great person. And by the way, now that you're an old person, you get to join the rest of us. So
Yes.
we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Nathalie, and stay with us because we got a lot more to talk about. In the second half, I want to touch on NLP because I think you being an NLP expert can help people. I've been trying to do this for a while now on the show, and I always get caught up in something else and we never get around to it. I want to make sure that we touch on it because I think it's really important. In helping yourself when you're in a traffic jam, or when your boss yells at you, or in those things that you're not necessarily going to get instant help. You might be able to help yourself, and Nathalie and I will talk about that in a little bit. But first, need to take this quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Positive Talk Radio. We're going to take a short break to tell you audio and music creators about our commercial affiliate, Lyric Vids, specializing in creating amazing and engaging lyric videos. Are you looking to promote your videos in the most engaging way, but you don't have an animator and an editor? Whether you're an artist, musician, or business with a message to share, our lyric videos are designed to hook viewers and amplify your reach. Go to positivetalkradio.net/lyric vids. That's positivetalkradio.net/LYRICVIDS now to get started. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. We hope you enjoyed learning about our affiliate Lyric Vids, who specialize in creating captivating animated lyric videos. Now let's get back to the show.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. And we've got a great guest. She's smart. She really is. She's done a lot of things in her life, and she is helping people live their best life and understand that there are changes that they can make that are right in front of them if they just take a different attitude and change from being a negative attitude to a positive attitude. That's just what I love about you, is that why you work for the show really well, because if you have a positive attitude about things, you can actually change how things are presented to you, can't you?
Absolutely. There's differences, though, between being positive and being unrealistic, or let me dig a little bit deeper into this. What I'm getting into is, a lot of people do affirmations. Yes. So
Yes.
they stand up in front of the mirror and they repeat, I've worked, I've got so many different programs, and with the Think Yourself Wealthy program, I talk with people who are in deep financial struggles, and I can't tell them, okay, look at yourself in the mirror and repeat, I am rich. They're like, no, I'm not. And if I work with the Think Yourself Healthy program with people that have 250 pounds to lose, I'm not going to say, okay, put your hands on your hips and say, I am thin. Well, no, they're like, what are you talking about? So let's go into the brain and think of the brain as your personal assistant. Your personal assistant is standing there with a notepad, writing everything you say or think, and makes it happen. The problem is, people wake up in the morning, they look at themselves in the mirror and they go, I'm so tired. I'm so stressed out. I think I'm gaining weight. So then your personal assistant writes it down. Tired, stressed out, gaining weight. Okay, tired. What can I do? Oh, I know I'm going to keep her awake all night. She's not going to be able to sleep. She's going to be really tired in the morning. Check. Stressed out. Oh, I know I'm going to make her delete a very important appointment in our calendar. Ooh, that's going to be stressful. Check. Gaining weight. Oh, that's easy. I can find a chocolate bar or some French fries. Check. Easy. So your personal assistant is listening and making sure that everything that you say or think will happen. Now, let's say that you tell your personal assistant what you don't want. Okay, so let's say I'll take a fitness example. Somebody wants to be in better shape, and as on the list, I am weak. I hate exercise. Oh, when I lose weight, I always gain it back. I have no willpower, or whatever is on the list. Okay. Let's say they start exercising. They start to go to the gym. They start actually to feel pretty good, and they start feeling stronger, and they start liking it. And maybe they start to lose a few pounds. Now the personal assistant goes in panic mode, because now the personal assistant's like, oh no, what's going on? She said she wanted to be overweight. She wanted to gain it back when she was losing weight, and now she just lost some weight. So I need to find some way to make her gain it back. I'm going to make her fall on the sidewalk. She's going to hurt herself. She's not going to be able to train anymore, and she's going to gain the weight back. Check. Done. Phew, I've done my job. So your personal assistant is constantly trying to make you right. So you have to tell your personal assistant what you want, what you don't want. Some of my clients tell me what they don't want. And they say, well, I don't want to be stressed anymore. I don't want to be impatient with my kids, and I don't want to be broke. So then the personal assistant writes it down. Stress, impatient, broke. It's like, even if you say, I don't want to, it's like telling your contractor that is painting your kitchen to paint your kitchen not blue. Huh? Not blue. Well, what color do you want? Your personal assistant, what's going to happen is that the contractor will build the cupboards and the backsplash and the countertop. And when it's time to paint, they'll be like, what color is this again? Oh yeah, she said something about blue. Blue it is, right? Because your personal assistant doesn't go into the do not, I don't want to be stressed. It just writes stress. So let's go back to that affirmation that we talked about and being positive, because I love that it's the title of your show, Positive Talk Radio. So, oh my gosh, this is such a good, I just realized that we're a perfect match. The Positive Talk Radio, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So positive talk is necessary, and you have to ease into it with your personal assistant. So let's say you tell your personal assistant, I had a client. So it's a big company, and then one of his employee discredited him to the board of directors, and he was about to lose his company. We're talking millions of dollars. So he calls me. Fortunately, I'm on speed dial with a lot of leaders and organizations. So he calls me. He's panicking. What did I say? Did I say, okay, smile and say, I am calm? No, because their personal assistant is like, no, we're not calm. What is she talking about? We are not calm at all. We're panicking right now. So you need your personal assistant to listen to you. But if you keep repeating, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out, I'm panicking, this is awful, then it's going to feed into making it worse, because remember the personal assistant writes it down and makes sure that it happens. So here's a 2-step technique for your personal assistant to listen to you and to change what's on the notepad. So let's say that you hear yourself say, oh, I'm so stressed all the time. And then you realize, oh no, I was listening to Positive Talk Radio, and there was this lady who was mentioning something about the personal assistant. I just told my personal assistant that I wanted to be stressed. No, don't write this down. What should I do? So here's the technique. This is what you do. You hear yourself say, I'm so stressed out all the time. Step number 1, you repeat it in the past, and you say, I used to be stressed out all the time. So now your personal assistant hears that. Because if you say, I am calm, the personal assistant will be like, no, you are really not calm. What? Oh, we must be watching a vampire movie. Vampires don't exist. I'm not writing this down. But if you say, I used to be stressed out, your personal assistant will be like, oh, stressed out. I have this on my list right here. Okay, she's talking to me. I'm listening, but why are we talking about that? Are we talking about that in the past? Like, are we done with this? Like, why is it in the past? Do I scratch that off or what? So that is time for step number 2 now. Step number 2 is a progressive statement. A progressive statement starts with, I am willing to learn, or I'm in the process of. So you just heard yourself say, I'm so stressed out all the time. You repeat it in the past. Step number 1, I used to be stressed out all the time. And then step number 2, you say, now I'm willing to learn how to change that. Now I'm in the process of creating a balanced life. Now I'm willing to learn how to say no or whatever it is that you need to be willing to learn. So the 2-step technique will help you start the process of changing all these negative self-talk. That negative language that we hear all the time, that we tell ourselves, oh, I wish I was as good as this, or I'm not good enough. It's never going to work. I'm so broke all the time. I'm so bad with my money. I've got zero patience. I'm a sugarholic. Like whatever it is, I don't deserve this promotion. So whatever you hear, you repeat it in the past. I used to think I was bad with technology. Now I'm willing to learn where it is that I have to click, because I can learn that,
And it keeps changing, so you got to keep learning it.
Exactly.
Natalie, and we need to take our station break, but when we come back, I want you to tell the story about when somebody came to you and said, I want you to speak to my group. And,
I will.
And that is a great story, because we all do the same thing. It's like, oh, I'm not worth that. So we're talking to Nathalie. Oh, say it again.
Plamondon-Thomas.
It's very good. And go to our website, which is thinkyourself.com. We need to take our station break, and we'll be right back with more with Nathalie.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. You have a lovely French accent. I wish I could do that. That would be kind of fun. I can't do one of those. But we're talking with Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas, and she go to her website, which is thinkyourself.com. On your website, you've got a story about what happened to you when you were just a brand new speaker, and the thoughts that were running through your mind. And tell us that story, if you wouldn't mind.
So when I started speaking, we created a video reel, like you need a video to send to people who would potentially book you to speak at their event. So I didn't have a video reel. So I hired a videographer, and we had 3 cameras, one for the close-up, one for the wide angle, and one from the back to see the large audience. But there was only 20 people in the room, so there was no large audience. So we kept asking people to move from one section to another. So then when we would put all the segments together, it would look like there was a large audience. So that video reel actually worked. It got me a phone call. So somebody calls and asks for my rate, and I didn't even have a corporate rate because I was not there yet at my stage of building my business. So I say, wait, 250? So then they say, okay, so for the 4-hour training, that would be 1,000. And I almost passed out because I meant 250 for the whole thing. So I go, yes, that's correct, $1,000. And then I hung up the phone. I got the contract. So I should have been excited. But the truth is, when I hung up the phone, I felt like a fraud because I was hearing the voice in my head. What? You don't deserve $1,000 paycheck for an afternoon. You're not a real professional speaker. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is this is true imposter syndrome. What is going on here? And I decided that I needed to figure out how to change my own negative self-talk if I was going to be able to go talk the sales team into being more confident with their sales force, right? and,
Oh, that is so true. So true.
and I charge 10 times that amount now, but back then, $1,000 sounded like it was way too much money for me. So what happens is that we talk ourselves down all the time. We don't, the brain has this filter where we listen to 50 to 80,000 thoughts per day, and research demonstrate that 70% of these thoughts are negative. So we listen to negative thought, like 31 per minute, 31 negative thoughts per minute. It's insane. Everything that we hear in our own head. And only us hear these thoughts. People around us don't. So that means that what other people perceive of you is that you have your stuff all together and that you're fine. And we perceive others with pink glasses, looking at everyone, thinking that everybody's absolutely amazing. But the truth is, everybody has this negative self-talk, and we think that other people can hear it from our own head, but they can't hear it. So when people are coming to you, oh, and my it looks like my background decided to change. So when people are wanting to hire you, or wanting to trust you with something, and you say, me? No, you can't be. It can't be me. I'm just this, or I'm not good enough, because you can hear all your negative self-talk that are bringing you down all the time. But if other people cannot hear all that crap, that means they can see the real you, because our own judgment of ourselves is blurred by this 70% negative self-talk. But remove that to other people, you're absolutely outstanding. You're amazing. So start seeing yourself with how others sees you without that negative self-talk. Like the confidence level, I think 70% is the percentage of negative self-talk, but 85% is the percentage of people that lack self-confidence in at least one area of their life. 85% of people lack self-confidence. It's crazy.
Well, and I wanted you to bring that up because there are in our audience a lot of people who are entrepreneurs trying to be and strike out on their own, trying to do something that they haven't maybe done before. And so they get caught up in this self-talk, and then they don't value what contributions they're actually making. So it's like, I'm not worth $250. And how much do you charge for coaching me? I don't know. I don't know if I'm any good. You know what I mean? We have these negative self thoughts that go through our head that then defeat us, because we're worth a whole lot more than we give ourselves credit for in a lot of cases.
100%. And we spend, and on average, 2.5 hours per day in emotional drama, telling ourselves, oh, I should have done this. I should have said that. Why did they not invite me for lunch? Where am I going to park? Like, there's so much drama that goes on in our head. We lose 2.5 hours per day. For an organization of about 100 employees, we're talking about $1.8 million lost every year in emotional drama on company time because people are stuck in emotional drama. So we are wasting a lot of time, a lot of money, just talking down to ourselves and making up stories that don't even exist, because we make up stuff all the time, right? Like we're pretending that something might happen, and it never does. It doesn't even happen at the end of the day, and we were wrong all along. Or something has already happened, it's over, but we keep replaying it in our head. it's over. We don't need to. We could just move on. But no, we have to replay it in our head over and over to waste so much time being unproductive and not performant and not at our best because we keep replaying these old stories. There's only 8% of our problems that are legit. Everything else is nonsense. We're making it up, or it has already happened. It's over. And sometimes it's very minor things that will be cured the next day. Like you have a headache one day. So, but no, you can't just have a headache. You have to worry about it. You have to start Googling it, and then to think that you have a brain tumor and you only have 3 months to live and you start panicking. No, it's just a headache. Just drink more water, go to bed early. It's going to be gone tomorrow. Like we just go crazy into so many emotional drama, so much time wasted while we could be absolutely amazing.
If you talk to most doctors, they'll tell you, do not go on the internet and try and diagnose yourself. Because
exactly.
You're going to get the worst possible scenario. And it's like you said, I got a headache. I'm dying. I've got a week.
Dr. Google. Yeah.
Exactly. I got to ask you, because a lot of people have got this thing going on where they love to play the victim. And so they relish in their victimhood. And this is why they can't get anything done, because of this happening. And I was a victim here. How do you get that out of the way, out of your head, so that you can move forward the way that you really are designed to do?
Yes. The very first step when you're dealing with a victim type person is to ask them what they would like instead. So you can ask yourself, what would I like instead? Or when you're stressed, or when you're panicking, or when you're making up stories. I have a list. Actually, if you can download that, thinkyourself.com/22 questions, 22 questions. So that's 22 questions you can ask yourself when you're freaking out. The first question is, will that help if I freak out? That's the first question, because the answer is always no, right? But asking yourself the question is the first step. Now, if somebody is always negative, how you described it well. There are some people who will, they are perfectly healthy, they're fine, except that they know somebody because the neighbor had a car accident, and then their aunt lost their dog, and then their great grandfather that they had never met passed away, and then it goes on with the list, and you ask them, how are you? And they say, oh my gosh, my neighbor had a car accident, and then my aunt lost her dog, and my great grandfather passed away. Things keep happening to me over and over. No, they're not happening to you. They're not. Even when somebody that you care for deeply passes away, they're the one that's passed, not you. And grief is a process, and it takes time, but you are still alive. It did not happen to you. It happened to them. And you are still there. And you have to go through the process of the grieving. Or if it's your neighbor that had a car accident, the grieving is really fast. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
sometimes it's not that long to grieve from that one, because your neighbor is fine and it was just a little scratch on their bumper, but you see it as if it happened to you, because that's the limbic brain that does that to us. Our perception, and I was talking about neuroplasticity, our mindset is formed by our perceptions. And unfortunately, these perceptions will control our emotions and our actions. So if there was an event that happened to you that generated a bad feeling where you did not feel good, it will be stored as such in the limbic brain. And every time something will happen, you will feel it a lot more, because your brain has put this in the box, because your brain loves to create neural pathway. Your brain loves to, these little dendrites, they connect and they create a synapse. And now you have all these synapses, like over 7,000 billions neural connections in our brain. Like on the internet, there's only 100 billion connection to connect the whole world together. But in our brain, there's 7,000 billion connections, 70 times more than to connect the whole World Wide Web together. So in your brain, you have all these connections. And the brain loves to put everything in neat little boxes. And when this happens, this is what I do. When this happens, this is what I do. And the brain loves that. When something happens that is close to a bad feeling, it will send that to, oh, now we need to feel bad. Perfect. And now it creates that endoneuroimmunology. Psychoendoneuroimmunology is the full word that will keep you stuck into a negative state. So we cannot be mad at people for being negative. They're just stuck and they can't get out because their limbic brain has stored that when things are happening, they see it with a very dark shade of gray around it. And they just can't get out of this bad feeling. So the question that I mentioned, I think it was 10 minutes ago when I started this point. Oh my gosh, I need to speak faster. But the question is, what would you like instead? Because when you ask somebody, what would you like instead? Then it will shift their mind so that they exit that loop. Or you can ask them, okay, if there was a solution to this, what would it be? If you were to look back at this a year from now, thinking, what did I learn from this? What would it be? What could be the silver lining if there was one? And how do you think that this will make you grow? How do you think that this has contributed to the person that you are today? And is there something else that you've went through in the past that you came out better and stronger? Is this the very first time that you have a problem, or have you seen others in the past and you were able to go through them? So there's so many questions that you can ask people to shift them around and get into a different state of mind, a different mindset, so that they send feel-good chemicals through their bloodstream and become resourceful again. And sometimes it's a big traumatic event. I do treat people with PTSD, reconsolidation of traumatic memories. So sometimes they are real trauma, and you don't have to have been in a house on fire to have PTSD. You can have PTSD from grief, from loss, from violence, from a car accident, from there's different reason why. And I've worked with Army vets as well, because PTSD is something that it takes a little bit more than a two-step technique, let's just say.
And it takes a while. And by the way, just so everybody in the States knows, if you are feeling like you're having a crisis, there is a number 988 that you can go to, a crisis hotline, to get help. And then after you get write it a little bit, then you got to go talk to Nathalie, because she's going to help you. Go to her website, by the way, thinkyourself.com. And I told everybody we were going to talk about NLP. We are, when we come back. I got a 1-minute commercial to do, and then we're going to talk to Nathalie about NLP, which is I speak English and I can't say it, so you
neuro-linguistic programming.
See, and that's your second language. We'll be right back.
They have your eyes. They have your ears. They have your smile. Now all they need is a little more of your time. Make a difference in your child's life, because anyone can be a father. It takes time to be a dad.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonough. We're talking with Nathalie
Plamondon-Thomas.
Oh, good Lord. I don't know. You'd think I was a professional at this, apparently.
You are. It's
Apparently,
just a different language. It's normal. You
I
don't speak French. It's fine.
well, I never have and probably never will. I took first year German 5 times. I don't know if that counts, but in in any event, we're talking with Nathalie. Go to our website, thinkyourself.com. One of the things that she is certified in is neuro linguistic programming, and it can be a very, very big self-help deal. I believe, and it's kind of like acupuncture without the needles and stuff. So, Nathalie, explain what that is exactly and how can somebody use it?
Absolutely. So, as I was telling you about the personal assistant in the brain, that's what neuro-linguistic programming means. So, neuro is the brain. So, we're talking about how can we influence the brain with our language, with our linguistics. So, how can we program our voice, our language, our words, and use them in a way that will make our brain do what's right for us and what will serve us well. So, when I was talking about the personal assistant that was listening to everything that you say or think and makes it happen, by using positive language to say what you want instead of saying what you don't want, that is NLP, that is neuro-linguistic programming. Because if you say to a child, don't forget your lunch, then more likely the lunch will stay home because we just told them linguistically to forget their lunch. Or don't be stupid, or don't walk in the pothole. Of course, they're going to run straight for it. And that's why I do have a children's program, The Adventures of Captain Vic. And we teach children on how to transform their negative self-talk to build that self-esteem and perseverance. So Captain Vic is a pirate, and there's Captain Miserable as well. That is another pirate. And there's always two stories. So first, Captain Miserable, it's a cartoon, right? And then you see Captain Miserable going to collect a treasure on a deserted island. And then arriving around the island, there's lots of rocks. So Captain Miserable goes, there's lots of rocks. I hope that I don't hit the rocks. So then Captain Miserable Parrot repeats, hit the rocks. Hit the rocks. So then, of course, Captain Miserable hits the rock and it breaks his boat. And that's a cartoon. Then Captain Vic goes towards the island and arrives at the same spot than Captain Miserable. But Captain Vic says, there's lots of rocks. I need to steer away from the rocks. So then Posey, the parrot, goes, away from the rocks, away from the rocks. And of course, Captain Vic goes around away from the rocks, because that's the neuro-linguistic programming way of saying to your brain what you want, not what you don't want. To program your brain with positive words to say, go away from the rock instead of don't hit the rocks. And it's we're in over 100 schools here in Canada where teachers are teaching this program to their class, because we believe that if children start to do this, the program is for kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, and we offer it for parents as well to do it at home with their young children. If they learn to talk positively at a young age, it will transform their whole life. Because instead of saying, I'm not good enough, or I'm dumb, I can't do this, I'm weak, you know what children tell themselves. They try once and then they're like, no, that's not for me. And then there's zero resilience, there's no perseverance. So in our cartoons, we have Captain Vic trying to play the harmonica, and then she's not good. And because sometimes Captain Vic's a girl, sometimes it's a boy. So anyway, she's trying and it's terrible. She's not good, but she keeps practicing over and over. And eventually she learns to play the harmonica. So we teach perseverance as well. And this is all what I'm using the children's program to answer your question about NLP, because that's exactly what it is using the language to reprogram the words in our mind, so that it will talk to our brain better and makes us be who we want to be and unlock the full potential, what we know is at the bottom of the drawer, and our best self, so that we can really live our full potential instead of just half live and just, not be exactly what we want.
Well, it seems to me that we are, as parents, because I remember I was one. My children are now middle-aged men. So, but there was a moment in time when they were kids, and it was so easy to rather say, you did a really good job, and we're going to continue working on it, and you're going to get better over time. We have a tendency to say things like, "Oh, you're so stupid," or "Don't ask so dumb." You're smarter than that. Don't be such a dummy.
Yeah.
Or
Don't fall, or don't trip,
don't do that. You might get hurt. So
Yeah.
we are limiting our children's ability to do what it is that they would truly love to be able to do. And if they fall down, you know what? They get back up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that will help them. But we negative talk our kids into believing all the stories that we tell them, and
Yeah.
then they feel then they got to go see you to get straightened around, because
Yeah.
they've got all this negative stories and self-talk that's in their
Yeah.
head.
And we tell them money doesn't grow on trees, right? Well, you have to work hard for your money. Or when you make more money, you spend more money. So you live paycheck to paycheck. Like, there's so many things that I personally have learned from my parents, that they were telling me, oh, money doesn't grow on trees and you have to work hard for your money. And then it took a long time before I could make a lot of money, really, because I had these limiting beliefs that when I would make more money, I needed to spend more money. So I would always live paycheck to paycheck. What? Why? No, when you make more money, you have more money. That's it.
Would
Is-
you talk to my son about that, if you would? I don't know that he's listening, but that would help him a lot if he learned to how much you make has no relationship to how much you spend. You can control the latter and the former, and you can do it in a way to make yourself really happy. Natalie, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate having you, and it's been a great deal of fun. And if somebody again wants to contact you, how do they get that done?
So my email is the easiest way, honestly. So yeah, on my website, thinkyourself.com, and my email is Nathalie with an H, Nathalie at thinkyourself.com. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I have 20,000 followers on Instagram, and people keep sending me messages through Instagram. I get hundreds every day. There's a chance I will never see it if you can contact me on social. But I'm the only one of this name, Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas, on social. So I'm easy to find on all LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. You can find me there. But don't message me there. I more likely won't see it because there's so many people messaging me on these platforms. Email me directly at my email address, Nathalie@thinkyourself.com.
What's interesting about that is that becomes a negative story that people are telling about themselves. I sent Natalie a message on Instagram and she hasn't gotten back to me. She must not like me. I'm not good enough and all that. And the fact of the matter is, when you get deluged with that many, you just physically can't do it.
Exactly. I do have a team. And I will eventually see it. It's just that sometimes the timing is a little bit late, but I do have a team that will eventually get to your message. Yes.
Natalie, thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to when next time we meet.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kevin, for inviting me. Always a great chat with you.
It was great fun. And thank you again. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin at